in December 2016 to the single-digit figure of 7.9% in December 2019. Restored fiscal discipline by bringing the fiscal deficit down from 9.3% in December 2016 to 4.5% today. Furthermore, we're managing the economy in a manner that is guaranteeing pragmatism in mobilizing and deploying national resources. An efficiently managed economy, together with the continuous maintenance of a business-friendly climate, are essential towards driving investment into Ghana and stimulating growth and creating jobs. Secondly, we're accelerating the process of the structural transformation of our economy. Government is fully committed to addressing productive capacity issues through initiatives such as the One District, One Factory, 1D1F policy, the development of strategic anchor industries like the integrated bauxite and aluminum industry, the iron and steel industry, and automotive policies to spur on the creation of vehicle assembly plants, the establishment of industrial parks, and the program for agricultural renewal, enhancement, and diversification we have dubbed Planting for Food and Jobs. It is this transformation that will give us the best opportunity to derive the greatest value from our abundant natural resources and from our participation in the AFCFTA and help bring progress and prosperity to our people. Fortified by the deliberate steps we are taking to educate our young people to be responsive to the needs of the 21st century world of work. We're refocusing our education by placing greater emphasis on technical, vocational, and educational training, TVET, and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM education. Widening access to education and providing our youth the skills and knowledge to compete successfully in the global economy of the 21st century are what will enable us obtain maximum benefit from our youthful population and permit them to realize their potential from their hard work, their sense of enterprise, creativity, and innovation for the rapid development of our nation and continent. Thirdly, to achieve optimal results from the AFCFTA, we're putting in place the needed physical infrastructure. Government is investing in trade-related infrastructure in order to facilitate trade. The ongoing expansion of the Tema port, which upon completion will make it one of the biggest ports in Africa. The simultaneous expansion of the Takoradi port, as well as the development of numerous road projects and railway networks, are all testaments of government's resolve to leverage new market opportunities on the continent. The overarching aims of the measures to harness the benefits of the AFCFTA are to develop and expand our economy and create sustainable jobs for our youth. When our youth decide to trek the Sahara on foot and brave the stormy conditions of the Mediterranean, it is in search of jobs and opportunities which do not exist in large quantities on the continent. It is estimated that by 2050, Africa will have the largest number of young people in the world, i.e. some 900 million. This means that African countries, including Ghana, will have to find sustainable ways of creating jobs other than relying on the limited absorption capacity of public sector employment and on the production and export of raw materials. To do this, we need the private sector to take advantage of agreements such as the AFCFTA to expand production both in industry and in agriculture and take the lead in the socio-economic transformation of our country, as others have done elsewhere. It is my strongly held conviction that government has to assist this process by fashioning and implementing a comprehensive set of policies that will empower the private sector to achieve its goal. Appropriate fiscal, monetary, financial, energy, exchange rate, tariff, and non-tariff policies must be coordinated to enable Ghanaian enterprises to be competitive and, where possible, achieve comparative advantage. Even though currently we are the largest recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa, we should do more to attract even greater investments. We need, inter alia, to streamline the large proliferation of agencies and departments that local and would-be foreign investors have to deal with. And to that end, we're taking steps to cut down on the bureaucracy. We have also made a specific number of interventions to reduce the cost of doing business, reduce the stress associated with setting up businesses, and formalize the economy. The e-business registration system, the paperless port clearance system, the digital property addressing system, the mobile interoperability payment system, and the national identification card system are helping to quicken the pace of change to bring us into the technology-driven era and make our businesses competitive, and thereby attract the requisite investment, foreign and domestic, to spur on our country's economic transformation. We're determined to take advantage of the digital revolution in all spheres of our national life. We're creating the space for the private sector to grow the jobs that our young people need. I'm working towards building a Ghana that is working to create jobs for her people and affording decent lives for her population. Ghana is endowed with great potential, and it is a country where security is assured, where the rule of law is upheld by an independent judiciary, and where investments are protected in law and in fact. We want to participate in the global marketplace at the high end of the value chain for Ghanaian products. We want to bring greater dignity to the lives of millions of people in Ghana, and we want to build a Ghana beyond aid. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, let me restate that Ghana is fully committed to the implementation of the AfCFTA. With a collective desire for shared prosperity, we are confident that the AfCFTA will succeed and offer a new impetus and dynamism for the rapid growth of Africa's economies and deepen the process of integration in Africa. Empowered Ghanaian enterprises should be frontline actors in this new exciting journey in Africa's economic history. We owe to generations unborn to ensure that the biggest trading bloc on the globe, whose outcomes will be rewarding to all, and which will assist in attaining the Ghana and Africa we want, does not falter. May God bless our homeland, Ghana, and us all. And I thank you for your attention.
You may be seated. What an inspiring speech, both as a person living in Britain, as a Ghanaian, as an African, as a diasporan. Clear messages on where we must go, and it must always be forward. So thank you very much for that speech. Now, every conference is always good to have a deal that is signed. And today we have such a deal that will be signed. In fact, behind the scenes, discussions have been going on, and we are pleased to announce a $100 million facility for Ghana Exim Bank, and that has been brokered between Credit Suisse and Ghana Exim Bank, and we're going to sign it live on stage right now. So, I'm going to announce a few people to join us on stage. Could I please have the Minister of Finance, Mr. Kenneth Oriata, to please join us on stage. Can I please have, on behalf of Ghana Exim Bank, could I please have, also can I have Nana Dankwaso, please? Dr. Nana Dankwaso, could you please come to the stage? Could I please have the board chairman, Boatin Genfi, please? And of course, last but not least, on behalf of the Ghana Exim Bank, Lauren Ajinsam, can you please come on stage as well? And we can sign this momentous deal. Credit Suisse, can you please join us on stage as well? And they have a brown box and paperwork. I love it. Yes. And please welcome His Excellency, the President of Ghana. Yes. You need another chair for the president.
Right, well, so those were excerpts of the event that is taking place in the United Kingdom to promote trade here in Ghana. The president just addressed those assembled and talked about lots of things, including his plan to shape the economy by the things we make and grow, not by the export of raw materials. He talked more about accelerating the process of structural transformation of the economy, mentioned some of the pillars through which that will be achieved: one district, one factory, planting for food and jobs and so forth, the aluminium industry, and he talked about deriving the greatest value from our raw materials, made reference to the Sino-Hydro deal, amongst other projects to leverage on the value of our raw materials. He talked about the country refocusing on TVET education and our commitment to the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which he said will be enhanced by the expansion of the Tema and Takrade ports. He said Ghana is the biggest attractor of foreign direct investment in Ghana, and that we're taking steps to cut down the bureaucracy and reducing the cost of doing business to attract foreign investors and to enable the private sector to become the job creation engine of our economy. So much more was said. We'll bring you excerpts later in subsequent bulletins, but at this time, I think we can hand over to Daniel Daze for Joy News Desk. Thank you for watching.
This year, the Multimedia Group Limited and Joy FM are 25 years old. We say thank you. We are grateful.
Welcome to Joy News Desk. My name is Daniel Daze. Coming up, inter-party resistance against compilation of new voters register takes Yempini demonstration to Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Also, Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo cites Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelevo for contempt over the $1 million coal payment surcharge. We get you details. In business, several Ghanaian youth rendered jobless following closure of foreign-owned retail shops. Details shortly. Stay with us. Have you with us. In our first story, the Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo has cited the Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelevo for contempt over the $1 million coal payment surcharge. Osafo-Maafo and 4 other applicants who are officials of the Ministry of Finance had sued Mr. Domelevo. Let's give you some background on this issue. Now, the Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo was surcharged $1 million over an agreement with a foreign company without allegedly following due process. The Auditor General Daniel Domelevo revealed on Joy FM Super Morning Show in November, the senior minister had 60 days to go to court to seek an order setting aside his surcharge. Mr. Domelevo said Mr. Osafo-Maafo's reply to his queries over a government contract with Coal Associates UK to provide consultancy services was unsatisfactory.
Giving me assurance that the work is being done and they are doing work for you is not what we were looking for. What we were looking for is evidence that work has been done. That is one. And if you saw the letter which they have published on the web, which shows their intention to disallow and surcharge, you will see that we were asking for some other information. Because Crow and Associates is a foreign company. Article 181 of the Constitution, Clause 5, provides that it requires parliamentary approval for you to go into such contracts. We are waiting for that parliamentary approval to come. Then we also stated that we don't think they follow the procurement process. If you look, I saw a document that you circulated on Joy FM, which is purported approval from Public Procurement Authority. If you look at that approval, it was given on the 14th of November 2017. The contract was signed on 26th of September 2017, 2 months later, before the approval was given. So the contract had already been signed. And invoices were issued earlier than the contract date. Okay? And if you, I don't know why Ghanaians don't read critically. If you read that letter, you will see that the approval was given by the management of PPA, not the board. Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act says the board, not management. But it is management who gave the approval. And the approval was given to National Security Secretariat, not Senior Minister. So there are a whole lot of questions unanswered about that, which we thought they will have come clear of it, and they have not come. As a result of which, I've issued a surcharge. So I've issued a surcharge against the Senior Minister that he should pay the money back into government coffers.
And my colleague Malik Dabo joins me with more on the application. Malik, what exactly are these persons seeking in court?
So there are 5 of them, led by, of course, the Senior Minister, Mr. Yao Osafo-Maafo. And what they are essentially asking the court to do is to commit Mr. Yao Domelevo into prison. Essentially, that's what contempt is for. And the reason why they are asking the court to do this is that they say when they exercise their right under Section 17 of the Audit Service Act, which requires that when a surcharge is issued against a person, the person has a right to appeal against that surcharge, and you, in your introductory comments, made reference to that. They exercised that right that they have and then went to court saying that, look, they do not believe that the circumstances under which the transaction was done warranted the surcharge that the Auditor General issued against them, and therefore they wanted the court to set aside that that surcharge and the disallowance and the surcharge. Now, when they went to court and made this appeal to the court, the rules require that Mr. Domelevo would file the documents that he based that decision on, the documents that formed the foundation for his disallowance and surcharge. The argument led by their lawyer Yao Pong is that because the Auditor General did not obey the rules and file these documents, they wanted the court to essentially commit him to prison. One, because he is frustrating their case, because his failure to file them makes it impossible for them to get the justice that they say they deserve. Secondly, also because it does not place the court in a position where it will be able to make a determination of the matter before it. So they say on the basis of those two things, they should commit Domelevo to prison.
Mr. Domelevo has not spoken?
Not yet. We haven't heard from him. We've been trying to reach him to find out exactly what his response are, or at least his lawyers, to find out why they have not filed. What the applicants are saying, and I'm talking Osafumafu and the others, what they are saying is that they have conducted a search. It is entirely possible that these documents have been filed, but they haven't found them. Their case in court is that they have conducted a search and they haven't found these documents as have been filed. So we have to see whether the court, they may have actually gone to court. The lawyers could go to court and ask for time in which to file this, and if a court granted that, they are within their right to file them at a later time. But we have to find out from the lawyers what exactly is the case.
Thank you very much, Malik Dabo, for those details. Of course, we are following this issue very closely. Expect updates in later bulletins. Now, the inter-party resistance against the compilation of a new voters register is demonstrating through the streets of Kumasi today to drive home their demands. The action is to pile enough pressure on the Electoral Commission to rescind its decision to compile a new voters register for the December general elections. The disgruntled parties say there is no need for a new voters register, arguing that the electoral governing body is engaging in frivolous spending. The commission, however, insists the current register is not fit for purpose and its incoming register is enhanced with better security features. Police in the Ashanti region is providing adequate security measures for today's demonstration by the inter-party resistance against a new voters register. Let's go there and speak with Erastus Asaridonko, who is monitoring the event. Erastus, what's the latest on this matter? Erastus, where has the demonstration gotten to, I mean?
Well, currently we've gone past the Mencia Palace. We've gone to Alaba. We are now currently inside Alaba. We are heading towards Imrum. From Imrum, we'll move straight to Kedetia, Pampaso. And then from Pampaso, we are going to Labour Roundabout, Ashapo. And then we head towards the Jubilee Pass. Currently where I'm standing within the demonstrators, there is a line of defense that is moving in this direction. I can see Honorable Musaka Mubarak. I can see Chairman Ogutuan Pofo. I can see the General Secretary of the NDC. Let me have a word with him, General. Well, it's not about Kumasi. Everybody in Ghana is annoyed with what the Akufo-Addo is doing. And instead of sitting down and thinking through, finding out what the problem is, they go about setting committees to investigate foreign, the value of our currency. So they don't have the little common sense to know that nobody puts their money and valuable in a house on fire. They don't have bad sense to know it. They don't need committees. They should know that investors will not bring their money into a country on fire. So the solution is to act to assure everybody that this country will not blow up. That is the only way to engender investor confidence. And if there is investor confidence, there will not be capital flight. The city is falling because there is capital flight. People are being prosecuted on Trump's charges of, staging coup d'etat and all that, attempts to rig elections and all that. So the observers outside who have their money, they will not put their money in a country that is on fire. That is the solution, and that is what they should be looking for. Would you want to add anything?
Well, you can see for yourself. Ghanaians are against the wanton spending of our scarce national resources. We already have a register which has about 18 million people whose data have been captured biometrically. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to do any new registration. Whatever additions you want to do to enhance the system through effective biometric verification or facial recognition, whatever it is, it does not require a new register. So our clarion call is that the Electoral Commission should save Ghana from spending the whooping sum of our $4.2 3 trillion cedis for just capturing data that is already in place. Again, they are talking about the crash of their database or their system. We have a national data center, which is large enough to capture and store any data we have in the country. It is our problem with the data center. With the ground, they come, transfer their data onto the national database, which can store it and be used for any other thing that we want to do. The last thing is that a national population census is coming. We need to conduct a population census to know the dynamics of the population and the demographics. Because we are going to check many people.
Erastus, unfortunately, we are finding it difficult to hear you. If you can please reposition yourself. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Erastus Asaridonko there. He is currently with the demonstrators in the Ashanti region who are opposing the compilation of a new voters register. It's still live on Joe News Desk. We'll be right back.
This year, the Multimedia Group Limited and Joy FM are 25 years old. We say thank you. We are grateful.
For me, every story that breaks during the day matters. And for my team, moving those stories forward is the priority. We draw your attention to different perspectives of the stories, giving you a 360 view of the big issues of the day. Whether it's breaking news, live coverage, personalities, or most importantly, news analysis, we have it all covered on The Pulse on Joy News. There is sports and there is showbiz. It's a full package. Join me, Gipsy Ando Apia, and the team this and every weekday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on The Pulse on the Joy News channel.
Now, if you drive around the Sodom and Gomorrah area here in Accra, you see plumes of smoke billowing from the burning electronic waste from the dump sites there. The site has been declared the most toxic place on earth. But a group of environmentalists, EWROTA, is seeking to reverse the trend. The group, with full name Electronic Waste Roundtable Association, wants to do this in 3 months. TSA Nanaya Safo has more in the following report.
Agbogbloshie in Ghana is one of the world's largest electronic waste dump sites, serving as landfill for common gadgets such as refrigerators, computers, TV sets, and even hairdryers. Many in the vicinity make a living by burning such old products to obtain copper, brass, and other metals for sale. Scientists have found this habit toxic, as research in April 2019 showed the highest level of world's most toxic chemicals found in eggs produced in the area. Scientists have also expressed worry about contamination of breast milk of mothers in the community. The Electronic Waste Roundtable Association has launched a battle on such waste. Vice President of the association, Vivian Ahia-Yibo, believes the unhealthy recycling can be minimized within 3 months.
EPA now is actually with the new act from give us maybe 3 months. You will not see any burning. Why am I saying this? Because the act actually stipulates that you are not supposed to do that. So we wanted something that could give us the power, give the Gaza leaders the power to be able to stop somebody on site. So a policeman can walk there and arrest somebody because the law allows them to do that. And within that 3 months, I'm sure the way we were able to do something with the Galamsey, with the team present here today, all the powerful media house, and if we have your support, I think with that 3 months, we should be able to do something together. It's an assignment for all of us, not for the association alone.
Program Officer for Hazardous and E-Waste Unit at the EPA, Hobson Japan, added that vision is translated into reality.
It depends on our commitment. Because as we speak, opium burning is illegal in Ghana by law. The Act 917 and the LI 2250 prohibits opium burning. It's not only Agbobulushi, but anywhere.
For his part, General Secretary of the Greater Accra Scrap Dealers Association, Muhammad Ali, urged authorities to quit the blame game in favor of effective collaboration between the sides.
There are some of the materials at the scrap yard, like some of these negative fractions and negative materials that we don't have value for. We have all this material generated at the scrap yard. We don't have any use for them. We have contacted AMA, how do we get rid of this rubbish? They said they don't know how to get rid of them because they don't have any place we can take them to. Now, if we are having companies, like you have mentioned, there are certain companies that can take these negative fractions and then turn them into something useful, then we all have to come together and cooperate together so that it will be a chain. As we are piling up this at the scrapyard, there's somebody ready taking them away. Not when we have been able to pile and the scrapyard is heaped with a lot of these items where we cannot even find places to operate. And we don't have anybody coming there to take them, and then we don't have any alternative but to put fire to them, and then we are also to be blamed for it. So we should be seeing every organization and every sector that is charged with a responsibility. We should all come out and then do the things that we intend to do, or we rather have set ourselves to do effectively, so that at the end of the day, the chain will continue and then the business is going to move smoothly.
Irota aspires to give Ghana a better reputation in electronic recycling. It hopes to ensure best practices with support from citizens. PSA Nanaya Osafo's report for Joy News.
Now, the Ghana Water Company Limited, GWCL, has warned that should the illegal mining menace persist in the western region, residents there will not have treated water running through their pipes. GWCL's communications manager Stanley Marte, in an interview on PM Express, told Joy News Monday that the utility provider loses about 40% of the water abstracted before and during treatment, which is not economically healthy for the company. We'll bring you details of that later, and you're still live on Joy News Desk. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Was very good because I remember we going around even with our board and management to some of these areas to check on performance or to check on how things were going. And seriously, the campaign was good because in some of our treatment plants, for instance, we had reduced the volumes of or the quantities of chemicals that we were using for the treatment. We had seen improvement in the raw water quality, at least even with a naked eye, you could see. And in some areas like Chebi, the water after very few weeks was very clear, and you could see it. And some oldies that we had a chat with, old ladies that we had a chat with, actually admitted that This was how it used to be in times past before, you know what I'm saying, set in and all that. So we're all hoping that it was going to continue like that. And then occasionally we'll hear of some operations somewhere and all that, and then we'll see a change. But then it was still okay, we're managing it. But now it's terrible. It's terrible. And
how terrible is it?
My fear now is that, for instance, in a western region, if you are not careful, we may have to shut down, especially the water treatment plant, which is on the Pra River. The Pra River is so terrible now that we are unable to treat enough water to serve the people of Takoradi.
How many people will be? How many people rely on that particular plant?
The population of the water serves Takoradi, and then Traban serves Sekondi, but there's some interconnection, and so in all we produce normally, when things are okay, we produce about 11 million gallons of water daily from these two treatment plants. But now we are producing averagely 3 million, which is scary. Yes,
from 11. So live on Joe News Desk, it's time for business.
This Wednesday on the Joy Business Van, another innovation. We'll be learning about a new service that allows you to check the history of any home use car before you make a purchase. All you need is the app.
You just download the app and then you go ahead right away and then check the history of the vehicle.
All right, so we detect the chassis number,
yes,
which is this one.
Yeah.
So we are going to input that and then we are going to get the history of the car.
Yeah.
All right.
The brain behind Home Use Car, Kofi Japan, will be telling us why this service is so useful.
If you want to buy a used car and you don't check the history, the risk is that you might get yourself a flat vehicle. And when you get yourself a flat vehicle, you have to spend a lot of money to repair it.
Save yourself the stress. Home Use Car on the Joy Business Van, on TV, radio, online and on ground. It is powered by Joy Business and supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Move on up. Look, Aisha, Chief Financial Controller of Operations. The whole market circle. Everybody know Aisha. First, now Aisha no get crowd too. Move on up. Every day then she for go bank. Today be water bill. Tomorrow cash deposit. Next week be picking school fees. Meanwhile, that is the day she know the selling cell phone. But now, levels don't change. Aisha they pay bills, then transfer cash all for the EcoBank mobile laptop. You can buy for a shopper. Shabu. You scan, then you move. Aisha be big woman.
Pay your bills and receive payments like a boss with the EcoBank mobile app.
Oh yeah, download the EcoBank app, make we go.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Several Ghanaian youth are said to have been rendered jobless following the closure of foreign-owned retail shops at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra. Owners of over 600 shops, particularly Nigerians, were ordered to close down last November for engaging in retail trade. Karen Dodu visited some affected shops and reports traders are feeling the impact.
23-year-old Hawaii seated not far from a stall, displaying mobile phone accessories including batteries and earphones. Her story was different some months ago when she worked as a shop attendant at one of the Nigerian-owned shops in the Kwame Nkrumah Circle area and earned about 400 cedis a month. With the closure of foreign-owned retail shops, her only source of livelihood has been blocked.
Even though they told them to do the wholesale this thing, and they are doing retail,
That's why they lock their shop. But we are pleading with them. They should open it for us to get our job back. We are pleading with them because it's really affecting us seriously. Whether now we have since they have flooded their shop too, it's really affecting us. So we are just pleading with them to open the shop for them.
What are you doing now?
We are not doing anything. We are not doing just in the house or come around to just when we see some of their customers, we just call them and go where we can get some of the good and give it to them.
Hawa is just one of the numerous people affected by the closure of the shops. The agitations of the Ghanaian retail traders for some months intensified in November, where several Nigerian traders were then asked to shut down until they produced a permit for retail trading. Jobs are not the only things affected. Prices of some electrical gadgets and phone accessories have shot up.
Because of the closure of the shops, the Ghanaians have capitalized on that and they have increased their prices. So if the shops are open, the prices will come down.
They are the ones who supply the goods for us, and now they have flooded their shops. So it's affecting us badly. Even though when it comes to the market to buy goods, you don't get it before, like how you maybe the way you purchase it before. You don't get it like that because now the things have increased. So we are begging them at least.
Despite closure of their shops, some foreigners, particularly Nigerians, hover around the markets. However, they were unwilling to go on record. They reacted on why their prices are cheaper than the Ghanaian traders. They explained that they do so in order to attract more customers and clear their stock. For now, the shops will remain closed until the owners are able to present their business operating documents to the Ministry of Trade. The shops here, like many other shops in the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, have been closed due to the engagement of the owners in retail trading. However, from interactions with people, it turns out that an average of 2 Ghanaians are employed by a Nigerian shop here, meaning that the closure of the Nigerian shops is not only having a toll on the Nigerians, but also on some Ghanaian youth. And they're calling on government to revise its decision of closing down the shops that engage in retail trading. Reporting here from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Karen Dodu for Joy Business.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has reaffirmed its position on the recent arrest of some former chief executives of banks and other financial institutions. According to the central bank, the full reform process involves accountability and other policies to make the sector strong again. Former chief executives of Beige and UT banks were arrested last week for their roles in the collapse of institutions 2 years ago. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, said the prosecution process will enhance accountability in the banking sector.
The Bank of Ghana has indicated that the banking sector reforms, which saw the collapse of some banks, is not going to end until the banking sector becomes stronger and more competitive. Apart from the chief executive officers of defunct Beige and UT Bank, who were arrested last week, former directors of collapsed Capital Bank are also facing similar charges at the High Court. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, noted that the various prosecutions are aimed at achieving the necessary results in the reforms process.
We have done the reforms, but the reforms cannot just end here. We have to go the full cycle and also to ensure accountability. And as you realize, the accountability process has started, that a few prosecutions are already ongoing. We must remain keenly interested in that to ensure that this process gets to its logical conclusion, so that it will ensure that we don't return to what led to this crisis again. And that, I think, the media has a very crucial role to play in helping to ensure that the full process of the reform, which includes the prosecution, is completed.
He also defended the approach, saying that any other way could result in slowing economic growth.